There's a part of you, a quiet, hidden part, that wonders why your heart keeps choosing the same kind of person over and over again. Different face, different name, same emptiness, same ache, same story. Do you remember the first time you felt that pull? The way your chest tightened when someone looked at you as if they could see a secret part of your soul. That moment when their smile felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. And yet, before long, the warmth fades, the texts slow, the calls stop. Their eyes, once alive with curiosity, now pass over you as though you were invisible. And there you are, left with the ache, the confusion, the haunting question. Why do I keep attracting people who cannot love me? It feels like a curse. Like some invisible thread pulls you toward the same heartbreak, again and again. Like your heart is wired to chase ghosts, instead of people who can actually stay. Think back to the first heartbreak that left your body aching. Do you remember how it felt? The tightness in your chest, the hollow ache in your stomach, the nights lying awake, replaying every conversation, every laugh, every glance, wondering what went wrong. And yet, even after all that pain, years later, the pattern repeats. The thrill, the spark, the pull, and the slow, inevitable fading. You think of the person who made your heart race, who laughed at your jokes, who seemed to understand your silences, who made you feel like your very presence mattered. And then you remember the coldness, the excuses, the silence that speaks louder than words. You remember staying awake, replaying conversations. You remember the late-night messages that never came, the birthdays forgotten, the milestones they witnessed from a distance, while you were left overanalyzing everything, every word, every glance, every pause. And then, just as suddenly as the connection began, it ended, and the ache returned. The confusion, the self-doubt, and the haunting thought. Why do I keep choosing them? Maybe the real question isn't why they come to you. Maybe the real question is, why do you choose them when they do? The human heart is a strange, haunted house. It keeps the lights on only in rooms it already knows. It loves what feels familiar, even when that familiarity hurts. Perhaps you grew up in a home where love was unpredictable, where warmth arrived like a fleeting summer breeze, and coldness struck like winter's frost. Perhaps your parents praised you one day and ignored you the next. Perhaps affection came as a reward, and absence felt like punishment. And so, as a child, you learned to chase. You learned to anticipate. You learned that love was something to survive, not something freely given. Perhaps, without anyone ever saying it aloud, you internalized the rule. I have to fix. I have to accommodate. I have to be enough, not for yourself, but to earn love. And when someone new enters your life, someone kind, someone steady, someone who actually wants you, it feels unfamiliar. It feels unsettling, almost wrong. You hold your breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. But when someone distant appears, someone mysterious, someone inconsistent, your heart wakes up. Your nervous system mistakes uncertainty for excitement. Silence becomes depth. Pain becomes love. Emotional unavailability feels like home, not because it is safe, but because it is familiar. And here's a truth that is rarely spoken. You are not just attracting emotionally unavailable people. Sometimes, you are choosing them, not in the obvious way, not consciously, but in the quiet, invisible ways. The ways that look like strength, independence, stoicism. The ways that tell the world, I don't need anyone, while inside, you fear the vulnerability of being truly seen. People who stay, they see the real you, not the polished version, not the version that smiles through the storm, not the version that has learned to survive, but the messy, unguarded, beautiful you. And that feels dangerous. People who leave feel safer, because the ending is predictable. You know how to survive disappointment. You have been practicing it your whole life. But real intimacy, real consistency, real emotional availability that is unfamiliar, uncharted territory. You do not know the rules there. You do not know how to breathe there. And so, you choose the heartbreak you understand over the love you do not. Somewhere inside, a small voice whispers, if they never fully choose me, they cannot fully break me. But that is not protection. That is self-abandonment. Emotionally unavailable people are drawn to you for a reason. You overgive. You love with a softness they never had. You absorb their silence as if it is your fault. You accept crumbs as if they are a feast. You believe you can fix someone who refuses to acknowledge their own brokenness. You have stayed up nights, rereading messages, dissecting every word, wondering why they left, why they disappeared, why they could not meet you halfway. You have loved in ways that made your heart feel enormous, while theirs barely stretched to meet yours. You become the place they rest, never the place they stay. You become the emotional shelter for people who bring storms. You become the healer for those who refuse to heal. You become the safe space for those who do not hold you safely in return. And the sting of realization hits hard. They do not stay because you were never meant to be their home. You were their escape, their comfort, their bandage, their distraction, but never their commitment. And it is not your job to be any of those things. The deeper truth is this: you are not choosing them because they love you well. You are choosing them because they are familiar, because the pattern is old. Your heart learned its shape long before you knew how to name it. Patterns do not break themselves. They break the moment you stop mistaking intensity for love. They break the moment you stop letting your wounds choose your partners. They break the moment you stop asking, "Why do they not choose me?" and start asking, "Why do I choose people who do not?" You do not attract emotionally unavailable people because that is all you deserve. You attract them because your heart is still speaking the language of an old wound, and that wound is still choosing for you. But wounds can heal, beliefs can change, patterns can collapse, and they start collapsing the moment you realize this. Love is not supposed to feel like chasing. Love is not supposed to feel like waiting for someone to finally see you. Love is not supposed to feel like proving your worth over and over. Real love, the kind that does not hurt, feels calm, it feels steady, it feels like clarity, it feels like truth. It feels like two people choosing each other, without fear, without games, without running, without hiding. But before you can recognize that kind of love, you have to unlearn everything that taught you to crave the wrong kind. You have to face the beliefs inside you that whisper, "I am not enough. I am only lovable when I fix someone. I do not deserve someone who stays. If I let someone close enough, they will hurt me." Healing starts when you stop abandoning yourself. When you look at your patterns and say, "I want more than this. I deserve more than this. I am done shrinking for people who do not know how to love." Healing begins when you stop waiting for someone to choose you and start choosing yourself instead. Slowly, one boundary at a time, one act of self-respect at a time, one decision to honor yourself at a time. Something inside you changes. You stop being attracted to inconsistency. You stop confusing chaos for passion. You stop falling for people who only reach for you when they are lonely. You stop believing that you must earn love to receive it. And then something miraculous begins to happen. Those emotionally unavailable people who once felt magnetic, who once consumed your thoughts and your heart, begin to feel different. Not exciting, not intoxicating, not irresistible, just familiar. And you realize, familiar is not the same as fulfilling. You begin to crave emotional safety instead of emotional survival. You begin to crave respect instead of attention. You begin to crave someone who chooses you, not because you fix them, but because they value you. And when that shift happens, everything changes. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop waiting. You stop trying to earn a love that should come freely. You start walking away sooner. You start trusting your intuition. You start recognizing red flags the moment they appear. You start valuing your time, your presence, your heart. And when you love yourself that deeply, you attract a different kind of love. A love that sees you fully. A love that chooses you without hesitation. A love that does not disappear when you need it most. A love that feels like home, not the home you grew up in, but the home you have always deserved. Because the moment you understand your worth, you stop loving people who cannot love you, and you start loving yourself enough to wait for someone who can. And in that waiting, in that choosing yourself over the familiar ache, in that quiet reclamation of your heart, you realize something else. The love you have been searching for was always inside you. The home you were seeking in someone else's arms has always lived in your own. Only when you lived there first can anyone else truly meet you there too.